Hey everybody, happy St. Patrick's Day. I am not wearing any green. I guess I get pinched, right? I'm not wearing any green, haven't been out all day long. That dims the brakes, right? And on top of all that, why am I having this issue with this screen? It's like, what is going on here? This is, this is what you have to do, uh, folks, when you're actually taking care of one thing and then something else doesn't, pan out. Hold on a second. I got to make sure the screen is duly cleaned. Hold on a second. Thought I had that done. Hey, Donuts, how you doing? Is that better? I believe is better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. How's that for real-time fixing? Pada. Okay. All right. Sorry, I spent the last 25 minutes making sure that one of our members, John Akala, making sure that his shares were reflected on the spreadsheet, because when John invested via Super Chat, and for those of you who wonder what I mean by invest, you can actually donate to anybody on YouTube who's a partner. You can do it via Super Chat. You can do it by PayPal. You can do it. Some people use Patreon. I don't like Patreon. And I have reasons for that. But about to get off the track there. In John's case, he put in, I believe, $5, but I didn't have his email. Okay, and the trouble with the YouTube system is, if you have an account that's not, well, if you have any account, you have to, and you put something into somebody else's till, they can't send you a message directly and say thank you, or give you, or send you a spreadsheet or anything, and there's nothing to have an email attachment. I don't know if for some particular reason they don't want you to know who the other person is. There's some weird reason for that undoubtedly exists. I haven't inquired, but it makes it that much more difficult to get information to you unless you invest via PayPal. If you invest via PayPal, your name comes up, as was the case with Kenzo, and I was able to send Kenzo, take Kenzo's email, put it on the email that I send out that has how many shares Kenzo has, and let that be that, okay? There we go. I thought John Akala was Kenzo, but Kenzo put in 20, John put in 5. That's a $15 difference. It's not fair to Kenzo. Unless they're the same person. Are you all the same people? But at any rate, So it was I couldn't get that off my mind, even though it's, it's for $5. But I want to make sure that every share is accurately reflected. And although these aren't tradable on any market at this point, they mean something to me. So as far as I'm concerned, by the spreadsheet, just over 13% of the people, 13% of Zenny62 Media's value is owned by all of you. And that comes to, let's see here. Let me count this. Start there. 31. 31. 97 minus, let's see here. Yeah, how does that equals 97 minus, yeah, that's 66 people. So 66 people have some level of ownership in Zenny62 Media, totaling a percentage of 13.2%. Yeah, so there you go. All right, the rest. All right, so there it goes. So that's how that works. Now, let's get to, got the administrative stuff out of the way. Let me get to your questions and comments. First of all, how much money Cap Blondie left Manny Flo asked? $34 million approximately. That's just off the top of my head. To which I now ask this question. Well, I'm not going to ask a question. I think the Raiders spent too much money in free agency. okay? And I think they needed to leave something over for the NFL draft because now they're out of whack, all right? Because you've got, think about it, you have not one, not two, but you have three. Well, yeah, you've got three new players. Now the last one, Mr. Nelson, he costs what? JJ costs $75,000 in guaranteed money. That's nothing. All right, and just a total cost of a couple of million. Okay, but between Trent Brown and Antonio Brown, those acquisitions sucked up a good amount of money and good amount of money. Okay, so I would say so, but 34 million is still that much. So look, it's not as much as you'd like. I like 50 million because if you get someone in the NFL draft first round, we're looking at, let's just do some quick figuring. Okay, signing bonus for NFL draft first round pick. Yeah, right here. Signing bonus for NFL draft first round pick is considered to be about 22 million. That was 22 million for yeah. That was Baker Mayfield's signing bonus was 22 million, okay? So if you figure that the Raiders are going to hold at, and the Raiders have 35 million, they have enough to pay out one big signing bonus. Or if you could look at it this way, they have enough to pay out 16 million twice, which would be, I mean, it would be really stupid to totally exhaust your signing bonuses like that. My point is you can't carry three first round picks and then expect to play in the lower rounds for 34 million. Something's got to give, all right? Something's got to give, all right, okay? So, yeah, so Baker Mayfield got a $22,185,000 signing bonus last year. Saquon Barkley he was the second. He had 21 million. Sam Darnold had Josh Allen had a $21 million signing bonus on his rookie deal. So the point is, even though these guys came after each other, their signing bonuses were not dissimilar. All right, you would think, hey, these signing bonuses would fall, right? Just like the fact that you had number 1, 2, 3, and even though salaries were a little bit lower, the signing bonuses weren't. I mean, each one of them were walking away with 20 million. So you've got to take a look at that. And if you think about that, you have to look at the Raiders situation and say, look, they can only afford one first-round pick right now. That's where they are at. So the Raiders took a gamble. Now, I think someone said the Raiders are going to have to release Roberts at some point and save some more money. I agree. Because I would rather walk in the NFL draft. If I can walk into the NFL draft with 50 million, I'm happy. After the kind of deals the Raiders did. But 34 million, you know, I'm not too flexible. I'm trading down again. By the way, did you hear about Montez Sweat was diagnosed as having a heart condition? You know what that spells? Okay? That spells, hey everybody, welcome to Zenny 62. And yeah, the Donald Penn, right, leaves 7 million. So let's see, you know, I said 34 million, but I didn't factor in Donald Penn. So basically, perhaps now that Donald Penn's deal is out, right? Penn, because when I quoted to you, happened before Donald Penn. So we're going to have to say 41 million. Let me see that. 41 million starts to look a little bit better. NFL cap space 2019. Okay. Team tally cap trapper. The Raiders are at hold on a second. I'm trying to get, that's 2019. The Raiders are said to be number 2. Yeah. Their cap space is better now after Pin. It's 46 million. Hey, this is better shape. $46,485,323. All right. That's top 51 cap space. Yeah. That's what they've got. The average age of the Raiders right now stands at 25.73 years, which is now almost 2 years younger than they were last season. All right. So they're getting younger, they're getting better, and they're getting faster. 25.73, that's a good age. That's a good age to be at. Trending players, Ryan Tannehill. How about Ryan Tannehill going to Tennessee, which you don't think so, but I think so. That spells one thing. Marcus Mariota didn't work out. So now they're looking for the person to replace Mariota. They're looking for the insurance. They're looking for a guy who got injured as much as he did, who, with the exception of his running ability, is, I wouldn't say he's a Marcus Mariota clone. Some people have made that argument. I think that argument's ridiculous. I have, Ryan Tannehill reminds me more of Matt Ryan than Marcus Mariota. I would never think of Ryan Tannehill as Marcus Mariota. Mariota is an entity unto himself, okay? He's just that kind of player. John Collins says, I think the Raiders are going to release Roberts at some point. I said that one. And yeah, Johnny Manziel signed with the AAF. I was surprised. I didn't think he'd stoop to that. I thought he was going to head for the NFL, but oh well. Hey, Lizette, how are you doing? Justin Houston, Clay Matthews, Zach Brown, Trey Boston, Bashir Brian. Yes, yes, yes. Justin Houston to who? I think the Raiders ought to just, unless they can get a Buffo deal for cheap, they ought to just cool their jets and focus on the draft. I think. John Collins says now the Dolphins find Fitzgerald. Yeah, Fitzpatrick. You mean Ryan Fitzpatrick? And I think that's fantastic because they get a proven veteran quarterback. I think the Dolphins are going to bring in another quarterback myself to go with Ryan because right now they don't have anybody on the roster in terms of quarterback. Let me see. Miami Dolphins QB roster 2019. Okay, Miami Dolphins roster. All right. See if this is hopefully update. This comes right from their website, so it better be. Oh, by the way, hey, new T-shirts, folks. Take a look. Ta-da! This is Oakland News Now, my new blog. This is a T-shirt from Oakland News Now. Yeah, so you can actually go either to the bottom of this page on YouTube, right, and buy one, or buy one at oaklandnewsnow.com, or wait for some sort of contest where I'm giving it out for free when I have more of them. So, yeah. All right, so we've got, let's see here, the Dolphins. Quarterback, Luke Falk, number 4. Luke Falk, the rookie out of Washington State, is the only quarterback right now listed on the Dolphins roster that I just saw. I don't see anybody else on there. That's it. Just Luke Falk, Jake Rudock. Sounds like a name from the Flintstones. Rudock. That sounds like Barney Rubble. Jake Rudock. I'm Jake Rudock. I normally don't make fun of names, but that just reminded me of the Flintstones like nobody's business, and so there you go. Jake Rudock from Michigan, and who is also he's a third-year player out of Michigan. And we have, that's it. So you have 2 guys at quarterback you've never heard of who probably won't last. You've got Jake Rudock from the Flintstones, and Luke Falk from who's a rookie from who walked in as a rookie from Washington State. That's it. So who the Dolphins have? They got nobody well, things could change. I don't want to say nobody, because either Luke Falk or Flintstone can come in and light it up this year. You never know, depending on the system. And they've got Jim Caldwell as the offensive coordinator, who's going to, as he always does, create a Buffalo offense with a veteran quarterback. So that's the position. So right now the Dolphins have, there it is. They have Ryan Fitzpatrick, Luke Falk, and Jake Rudock. All right, and that's where they're at. Those are the 3 quarterbacks right now. That could change. They might bring in someone during the draft, but right now that's what they look like. Nimbite says Josh Allen to the Raiders, baby. Maybe. Blackman says, I wonder what happened to Montez Sweat and how far he will fall. Generally, when you have a heart condition like that, I'll tell you what happens. We saw it last year. Remember? We had the Raiders situation, and that we faced in the NFL draft last year, and that yielded a player that we got on the 5th round, the Maurice Hurst from Michigan. All right, so so that could happen to somebody again, because Maurice Hurst went through the entire season with the Raiders without having any problem at all. Contrary to what was predicted when initially it was advertised that he had a life-threatening heart condition, right? Now, in the case of Montez Sweat, all right, hey, Jack Bauer, how are you doing? In the case of Sweat, NFL Sweat, heart condition, NFL draft, it's NFL. He had a pre-existing heart condition. This all came out today, basically. And according to Ian Rappaport, published on St. Paddy's Day, Mississippi State defensive end Montez Sweat, who rose to the National Combine spotlight with his performance at the Senior Bowl and on the field in Indianapolis at the 2019 NFL Scouting Combine, has medical news that may make some teams do an in-depth analysis. Multiple sources say that Combine doctors took a thorough look at Sweat because of a pre-existing heart condition. This was not publicly known before Indianapolis. In the past, Combine doctors have prevented players from participating because of health concerns and sending one player home this year. Ultimately, the Combine deemed his condition low risk and cleared Montez Sweat to participate. When asked about his medical condition, his agents issued the following statement to NFL.com. Because of privacy issues, we are not allowed to comment specifically, but I will tell you this is not news. Montez is the same person that was medically cleared to play and dominate the SEC, the Senior Bowl, and the NFL Combine. No change in health and no change in domination. NFL teams are in the process of assessing how they will handle the news. I wonder how this came about, though. You know, why did this get leaked now? Is it because he was rising up the draft boards? Was he going to supplant Nick Bosa by some people? All right, Nick Bosa, the Trumper racist dude. Think I'm lying? Sweat took advantage. I'm reading here. Sweat took advantage of the opportunity and lit up the Combine after dominating the Senior Bowl, vaulting himself into the top 10 consideration. At 6'6", 260 pounds, he ran a 4.41 40-yard dash while excelling at all drills. The latest medical news means teams may evaluate Sweat more closely come draft time. All right, so that's not like Maurice Hurst, because no one is saying here that this was a life-threatening issue. You know, now if I happen to type, now wouldn't it be funny if I just happened to type, you know, Nick Bosa, you know, B-O-S-A, and then heart condition, right? And under his name to see what would happen. Because sometimes you type things you never know, right? Nick Bosa healthy again following dad and brother in the NFL. Post-Combine. Healthy Bosa says going #1 would be a dream. Reggie Ragland flagged for heart condition that happened 2 years ago. Then, of course, there's Montez Sweat. Now, if you want to have some fun with Nick Bosa, instead of typing heart condition, you can just type Nick Bosa white supremacist, okay, or something. Yeah, white supremacist, okay, and you can have some fun there and see what you got, and actually, you get some things. Like, for example, Nick Bosa gets ripped for saying Black Panther was worst Marvel movie. Nick Bosa on Twitter. Same guy who thinks all Trump supporters are white supremacists. Nick Bosa's Twitter feed is causing some controversy. This is idiocy. I mean, I don't say it's idiocy because he was referred to as that. It's idiocy for him to get on Twitter and spew what he thinks politically. You know, if he's not going to put himself out there as being, you know, warm and fuzzy to people, and he's about to go where he can make a lot of money. So my point is, you want a little fun, just do that. Like Nick Bosa or Nick Bosa, all kinds of adjectives, right? I'm not gonna do that, but I'm just saying, okay? But why this happened with Sweat, I don't know. I only know that it happened, okay? Fitzmagic, I think, is going to be outstanding at South Beach. I really do. Now, if Jim Caldwell does with Ryan Fitzpatrick what he did with Joe Flacco, then the Dolphins will wind up playing in their own stadium this year, well, next year, for the Super Bowl ring, okay? So, all right. So we got, in fact, Fitzmagic in Miami. Russell Wilson has a great potential to become a top-paid QB. Steelers signed linebacker Mark Barron to a 2-year deal. Jerry Jones thanks the Giants. This is hilarious. I have to click on this. Jerry Jones thanks the Giants for trading wide receiver Beckham. Says the Odell Beckham trade took many in the football world aback. This is on NFL.com as well. And it says after the New York Giants shipped Beckham to the Cleveland Browns for a first, a third, and a safety, Jabril Peppers, the wide receiver took time to thank New York for his time there. He wasn't the only one offering praise to Big Blue this week. Ahead of a boxing match at AT&T Stadium, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones was asked what his thoughts were after Beckham, previously an NFC East rival, had been traded. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jones exclaimed. That says, think about that. That thank you, only Jerry Jones could do that. Make that one statement that has all of these meanings encapsulated within it. First of all, thank you, New York Giants, for getting rid of one of your best players that we don't have to deal with. Thank you, New York Giants, for having a general manager in David Gettleman, who would make such a stupid decision. And I'm not saying anything negatively about him as a person. I'm only talking about his decision, which was stupid, okay? And then thank you, Big Blue owners, for allowing Gettleman to do that, all right? Wellington Mara could have turned around and said, what the hell are you doing? Rescind that. Get him back here. Just saying, okay? Mr. Mara doesn't actually talk like that, all right? But that's what we get when you get Jerry Jones saying, according to a tweet, thank you, thank you, thank you. Beckham was a thorn in the side of Dallas during his 5 seasons with New York. In 7 career games against the Cowboys, OBJ reeled in 35 catches for 477 yards and 5 touchdowns. And remember he had that one-handed catch on Monday Night Football in 2014? Woo, that was something else. So there you go. Jerry Jones is happy. You know, on that note, I am going to tell you that 1 week from today, I will be, fingers crossed, safety-wise, 'cause, you know, first time I travel in a while. I'll be in Phoenix for the NFL annual meeting. That's right. I'll be there Sunday through Wednesday. And it will be, let's see, the annual competition committee review. In fact, there's a conference call this coming Friday related to the NFL annual meeting and the rules changes that are upcoming. And then, of course, you have the coaches' interviews, which are held generally Tuesday morning, and you have an hour. The way they do it is you have an hour with all the coaches, okay? So join me. If you want to have fun, I'll be going live quite a bit starting Sunday and Monday, and of course Tuesday morning. And I'm jazzed. Want jazzed? Jazzed, all right? Let's see here. Jack Bauer says that, I'm going back to your comments. John Acala says Kaepernick said he was interested in playing with the Dolphins. J-Dub says, I hope we get Rashawn Gary. Jack Power, how you doing? Fitzmagic is about to hit South Beach, says Rob Iman. Eric Young says, Nick Bosa needs to go have his whole stadium full of seats. Rob Iman says, now Cleveland has players. Can they get the wins? Yeah, we'll see. You know, to me, they've always had players. Like with Hugh, the problem in that case was that they didn't have an offensive system that seemed to understand what it wanted to be. Was it going to be spread throwing, or was it going to have a read option look with no huddle? And within that rather confused looking offense were just a handful of plays. Okay, I thought it was Hugh Jackson's worst offensive performance in terms of scheme in his history, and the one-loss record showed for it. Among the best performances I think Hugh Jackson put in offensively were when he was head coach for the Raiders for that year, and he had Carson Palmer and then Jason Campbell. Although I don't think we need to trade for Carson Palmer. I really think Hugh should have focused on scheme and less on personnel. I think that was a big mistake on his part. And then when he was offensive coordinator with the Washington Redskins in, I believe it was 2005, and I thought that was one of his best jobs. And then, of course, when he worked with the Bengals, all right, where he put in some incredible offensive game plans. So he's done well in the past, particularly as an offensive coordinator. I don't know what's going on up here, you know, later in life, but when you're head coach and you're considered an offensive guru, that's your opportunity to really, instead of doing the normal, stretch the envelope, advance the game, try something different, be innovative, be effective. And I think Hugh missed it there. I really do. And it's really sad. I like Hugh Jackson as a person. I think a lot of people do. Okay. Gonzo says, who's going to be the Raiders running back? You tell me. Bluck says beast mode. Rob Iman says, next week I get an MLB mode. Okay. Rob Iman says, I think the A's can win 85 games this season. Okay, that's fine, but I want to talk NFL right now. Because I need to develop a special segment for the 80s, and I'll do that tomorrow. Hey, Cowboy Wrestler. John Acala says, do you know when this City Council and Alameda Board of Supervisors are going to vote to approve the Raiders lease extension? That should be Tuesday. That should come up Tuesday. I'll check the agenda, but that should be Tuesday. I'll talk about that tomorrow. And John says, do you know when... Yeah, got that. Lisette says, calling for warm weather these days out here prepared. But you know what? I am on the internet. I can check. So let me check here. Let's see here. City of Oakland. Boom. See what's going on, okay? Oh, there. All right. Hey, do you realize that TNT has a Star Wars marathon going on? Ooh. Let's see here. How can we help? City Council. I don't think. Let's see here. City Council. There. And event services. Watch K-Top. Agenda. let's see here, online meeting schedule. I doubt the staff report is up this quickly. Let's see here. 3/26. You know what? The meeting is not until, okay, next week, because we didn't have, all right, the Rules Committee was canceled. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, we've got a lot of cancellation notices because of spring break. So we're not going to see, the City Council is not going to meet again until April. All right? So I repeat, City Council has cancellation notice. The regularly scheduled meeting of the Rules and Legislation Committee has been canceled in observance of spring break. The next regularly scheduled committee meeting will be held Tuesday, April 4th, 2019 at 10:45 in the morning. So we wait. That's true for the Public Safety Committee, Special Life Enrichment Committee, the Community Economic Development Committee, Public Works Committee, Finance Committee, and I believe this says spring break, but I really believe, I haven't really, I think a lot of this has to do, to be honest with you, not so much with spring break as as with the passing of Victor McElhaney, Oakland City Council member Lynette Gibson McElhaney's son, and I just don't think she's quite ready to come back to work yet. Okay, so I think that's really what's going on. Joseph, it's not so much that, all right? It's Lynette lost her son, lost her only son, tragically. And she's not ready. You know, I don't know if any of us are quite ready to deal with that, all right? And that's what's happening. So we expect to get back on track April 4th. So that's what's happening, okay? Hey, Sean, happy St. Patrick's Day. So again, my prayers and condolences to Lynette Gibson McElhaney, the loss of her son Victor, who, if you don't know the story, was killed last weekend. Not this weekend, but last Saturday in a parking lot in front of Hong Kong Express in South Central Los Angeles just after midnight. He was a student at USC, a music student who had just transferred from Oakland and Laney College. And everyone had high hopes for him as an exceptional talent and a gentle soul. So there were, by reports, 4 men that approached him, allegedly robbed him, and I don't know what that is at. Let's see. I mean, I don't know where it's at. If I type his name in there, if I type his name in Google, see if there's a news update. Police are still seeking information. This was as of 2 days ago. And I put, if you go to Oakland News Now, here, I will see, because I was trying to get, and I think some of you were with me when I was doing this, I was trying to get more information out there. But if you go to Oakland News Now, right now, okay, yeah, so, here, and if you click on the picture, right, that will take you to this Victor McElhaney, son of Oakland District 3 Councilmember Lynette Gibson McElhaney, killed. This not only explains what happened to the man, but also well, that basically tells the story there, okay? But there was a another blog post that I wrote that I should have linked to here, and I did not as an up. Oh yes, I did as an update. Excuse me. That if you want to find out more, just type Victor here, VICTOR, press return, wait, and then you will get the results. All right. Victor McElhaney's killers must be found in Los Angeles. And so if you click on this update, which hasn't been updated in a few days because I don't have any other news yet, you can read all about what happened. The search continues for the suspects. And then you can see social media posts about him, listen to him playing drums as well. There's a tip line right here, okay? And I ask, what is the Hong Kong in the news video? And this was the crime scene, okay? It occurred right here, but this was closed. However, this liquor store and pawn shop was open until 2. This is called the One Stop Liquor Store at 255 East Adams Boulevard in Los Angeles. All right? They called this is not an abandoned parking lot. That was closed. This is open, all right? But it occurred here. This is where the police officers came up. They occurred here, but this was open. So they're still looking for suspects, you know? That's awful. I mean, it's been a week and still nobody knows nothing. So that's why. I'm just giving you, that's the reason for what you see. That's the reason for the canceled meetings and the fact that this matter of the lease is going to have to wait its turn. There you go. Okay. And Sean Watson says, praying for her family. I hope the Lord gives the family some kind of peace. Yeah, I think the best peace that Lynette should get is the knowledge of what happened to her son and that the killers are brought to justice. Okay, and I raised my eyes like that because aside from fighting back tears because it's so sad, you just want those so-and-so's found. You want those bastards found, all right? It's just straight up. Joseph says it definitely can't wait. I'll include her in my prayers. It is so sad. Yeah, it's a very sad occurrence. It just straight out is that, okay? No two ways about it. So it's, you know, a lot of people are still reeling and from that event. Joseph says, having grown up in Los Angeles, the surrounding area around USC after dark has always been dangerous. I was down there with my friend, my ex-girlfriend Lauren from Cal. We went to Cal USC. It's actually on my, it's on Zinni 62 here. And we were walking. I think I'll make a video down there, but I'm not going to bring it up for this purpose now. But we went because I had never visited USC to attend Cal, my school, playing USC down there. And it was fun. You know, it was a great tailgate had by friends, classmates. I took a lady that I'd been in love with for some time. Had a fantastic time. And it was a good closure, yes, in its way. But anyway, I remember walking through there and thinking, yuck! Oh, man. All right, Gonzo's getting us back on track. Available, thank you, Gonzo. Available free agent running backs, Isaiah Crowell, Alex Collins, TJ Yeldon are available if they don't re-sign Lynch or Martin. I'm glad you brought that up because let's talk about what the NFL Network considers the 101 top free agents, all right, and what happened to them. And they start with Le'Veon Bell, who signed with the Jets, then Earl Thomas, who signed with the Ravens, Trey Flowers, who signed a 5-year, $90 million contract with the Lions. Nick Foles is a Jaguar, to which I tell you this story. At the NFL annual meeting, actually, no, it wasn't the NFL annual meeting. It was the, it was, it was the NFL annual meeting. And I ran into Jason Garrett, and I was going to ask Jason Garrett about the read option. And he goes, I'll tell you, the guy you need to talk to about the read option, who's the expert, it's that guy over there. He was pointing to Doug Marrone, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, Nick Foles is arguably the most successful NFL read option-oriented quarterback in employment today, right? Guess who he goes to? Ta-da! Jacksonville. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So NFL Network says Foles needs to find the right system to play in, but isn't that true of any quarterback? His play late in the 2018 season showed that his Super Bowl run was no fluke. This ranking, number 4, reflects the premium placed on any starting quarterback who becomes available during his prime, because it happens so rarely. The Jacksonville signed Foles to a 4-year, $88 million contract worth up to $102 million with incentives. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport and NFL Network's Mike Garafolo report. Number 5 is Landon Collins, who signed with the Redskins, 6 years, $84 million, $45 million guaranteed. Anthony Barr, Vikings, stays with the Vikings. He was going to join the Jets, but no. The Vikings said, "Get your butt back here." Agreed to a 5-year, $67.5 million contract with $33 million guaranteed. C.J. Mosley is, joins the Jets, 5 years, $85 million contract. So get this. That's cool, okay? That is cool. The Ravens wanted to keep this guy, but he goes to the Jets. All right? And, yeah, I know that, John. I mentioned that actually a little earlier. Justin Houston is still, with Kansas City. Nothing's happened yet. KJ Wright is in the process of being re-signed by the Seahawks. Sheldon Richardson left the Jets, and they call him, his nickname is Rent-A-Hulk, in large part due to character concerns. This is what I'm reading here. I'm not making this up. You think I'm kidding? I am not making this up. Look at this. This is what the NFL Network writes. I didn't write this, all right? Rent-A-Hulk, in large part due to character concerns, Richardson has been unable to land a long-term deal the past 2 off seasons. His value should be on the rise after a bounce-back year in Minnesota. That's Sheldon Richardson. And the Browns signed him a 3-year, $36 million deal there. And, of course, we have Tyrann Mathieu, number 11, his safety. Signed with the Chiefs, 3 years, $42 million. Ndamukong Suh is still available. Preston Smith is signed. LaMarcus Joyner, of course, with the Raiders. Ziggy Ansah's out there and he's available. You want an edge rusher, okay? You want an edge rusher, Ziggy, all right? I mean, you know what I like about Ziggy? He'll bat your passes like he's King Kong, man. That's a dude I want on my team. I would be, now let me put it this way. I would want him paired with a Montez Sweat, okay? Ziggy Ansah here, Sweat there. That would solve my edge problems for the next 4 years. The next 3 years, okay? Yeah. Within those next 3 years, I should be able to squeeze out several playoff appearances, I think, if I use these gentlemen the right way. Gonzo says, I wish. Tevin Coleman, running back, signed with the Niners, 2 years, $80.5 million. Ronald Darby, Eagles agreed to a 1-year, $8.5 million contract. Darrell Williams re-signed with the Panthers, 1 year, $7 million. Brad Roby, Texans, 1 year, $10 million. Jared Cook with Raiders, he's still available. Hopefully the Raiders re-sign him. Okay, they got $46 million to spend. Roger Saffold, Titans and Saffold agreed to terms, 4-year, $44 million contract. Wouldn't it be funny if the Raiders turned around and announced that they traded for Marcus Mariota? I mean, they just popped out of my head. Don't ask me where I got that from. That just popped out of my freaking head. I do not believe it will happen, but it just popped out of my head. It just did. It just, there it is. It was like, oh, there it is. Hey, you know, I have no idea where that came from. I didn't hear anything, nothing, all right? I have no idea where that came from. But it wouldn't, but you know what? Just keep an eye on Mariota. Tannehill and Mariota. Okay, just keep an eye on that. I mean, you can't have, can you? Can you have a team with those two like that? I'm not saying it's like oil and water, but it just seems like, it just feels like one of them's got to go. All right? It just feels like that, okay? Somewhere, right? Quan Alexander signed with the Niners, as you know. Teddy Bridgewater is, you know, sticking around. I thought he was going to sign with the Dolphins, but he's stuck around because he probably figured that the Dolphins were going to put him in a situation that I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be in, which is that the Dolphins are going to turn around and say, hey, we've got this rookie coming over here. All right? Aside from the fact they got 2 guns already, right? Trent Brown's with the Raiders, as you know. Golden Tate signed with the Giants. And you're going to tell me that Golden Tate is the OBJ replacement? No, don't tell me that. I'm going to stop in about 7 minutes, folks, just because of the time. Zach Brown says 101 of these. We're going to go through this tomorrow. Malik Jackson is expected to be signed by the Eagles. Mark Ingram. Ravens Ingram have agreed to a 3-year, $15 million. Well, you get the idea. Terrell Williams is with the Raiders now, 4 years and $44 million, $22 million up front. So Terrell Suggs, T-Sizzle is a Cardinal. Interesting. All right. Okay. And just before you thought I was leaving, I cannot leave until I have shared with you the true, real, new news, and that's this. Bam! Las Vegas Stadium delayed, says local vlogger Jedi Rich Lightower. Yep, that's right. That's right. So you can go to Oakland News Now, click on the read more there. Get rid of that, of course. Click on the read more there. And wait for the deal to open. It opens quickly. Scroll down. Rob Iman says, do Mara and Gentlemen know how to rebuild? We're about to find out. They know how to destroy. Okay, this is it. Las Vegas Stadium, the 65,000-seat domed event complex and future home of the Oakland Raiders, who would be the Las Vegas Raiders, is behind schedule due to the recent stretch of days of rain and snow that hit Las Vegas Valley. That news comes from popular local vlogger Richard Lightower, who calls himself Jedi Rich Lightower on Twitter. Mr. Lightower, who has taken up the practice of making video blogs that feature him walking onto and around the Las Vegas Stadium property when no one is around, issued a tweet that reports the stadium project is delayed. This tweet, which hasn't properly rendered, but anyway, there it is. It did render. There it is. Okay, ta-da. All right. It says Las Vegas Stadium update delayed. New completion date is August 2020. Ha ha ha. Missing preseason and cutting it close. I'm laughing not for the reason you think. Testing different types of turf. Great views. Maybe you can see your seats. All right. And then they puts up this video is 26 minutes long, folks. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but I'm telling you, this deal, all right? They walked. You know what? I'm going to play this. I'm going to forward this because I want you to see. I'm going to forward this. I'm going to freeze frame it, okay? Because I want you to see something. that I think is exemplary of how lousy security is for these people to have done what I'm about to show you. Let me explain to you to set up the scene. They walked onto the stadium grounds and they were in some sort of vehicle and made this video, and it was clear that nobody was on the property. All right? No one. And they said they did this on the 13th, at least when they put up the video. And I'm thinking, how did they get access? It looks like they just drove onto the grounds. There's nobody with them. And so my first question is, where the fuck is security? And I said it just like that. They could have walked on the grounds and done anything. This is unprecedented, folks. All right? I mean, you got to, I'm going to show you one, not just steel frame. Because I want you to understand just how, I mean, when you look at this, you're going to say, I mean, they walked down into the bowels of the stadium, into the middle of it, where the field will be, all right? Inside it, or what will be inside it. And there was nobody there except them. I mean, if I'm paying insurance on this, my question is, what did I just see? What did you let them just do? All right? And how did that happen? I'm serious. It is, I'm waiting for this video to, it's not properly staying still here. Let me try this. It's, now I get the spinning wheel of death because it knows I'm talking about it. It's like, doggone it, you're not going to talk about me. Yes, I am. Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about you. Mm-hmm. It's Robert Williams used to say that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to talk about you. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I am. Because this guy, who actually used to live in Phoenix, he's a transplant to Las Vegas from what I've been able to determine, has a blog. And what I like about what he's done is that he and his, I don't know if it's his daughter or girlfriend or what, but whatever, come off as very honest, well-meaning people. You know, not trying to snow anybody. This thing's gotten thumbed up 59 times, but only has 1,700 views. That's weird. But I want you to look at this, all right? I'm going to, still buffering and loading. But right, now it's rendering here. It's 2 mentions. They only have 267 subscribers here. Okay, here we go. Now it's, oh, all right, now I can pan it and freeze it right there, all right? Look at this. Here. Bam, look at that. See that, folks? Look, there's nobody around. Yeah, the video's on YouTube. This is it. It says Las Vegas Raiders Stadium Construction Update. All right? And, hold on a second. Okay. And, see? Jed Rich, creative producer. And I'll grab the video link here and copy it and do a copy paste. Okay, here. All right. And then I'll go here to come back here. All right. So you can look at it, and then I'll put it here and there. Okay, there it is. Okay, and then I'll hit enter. Okay, so you can have a look at it, and then it just rendered. All right, so there you go. So you can have a look at that. But going back to this is insane. All right, look at that. There's nobody around. And it's like that for the entire video. Just take a look for yourself. I challenge you to tell me, spot the other persons or person that's on the grounds other than them. There's nobody. Look, I mean, it's like a ghost town. I'm thinking, and they're just walking around like they might as well be Mark Davis or something. It's crazy. I'm going back, let's see here. This is another part, that's one part of it, And here's another, and might be a good idea to reach out to talk about it. I will do that. But because I would love to know how they got down there. I really, Miguel makes an interesting comment here that I want to get to. Look at this. Here's another. Look at this. This is right down there. Look at this. I will. Look at this. See that? Look. Look at that. Right down there's nobody. Nobody around. All right? I mean, it's crazy stuff. Okay? Again, excuse me. I have never seen that before. I have never seen anybody just have that kind of free, wanton access. You know, I can go anywhere I want to in this facility. This is mine. It's like they're, you know, Harold Hecuba. Oh, I own this place. Oh, yeah. And they're just photographing everything. You know? I mean, everything, everywhere. They, at one point in the video, and it's obvious they're in some kind of vehicle, car, right? With the windows up. They go around and they go down into the ramp area into the stadium. There's no signage telling them not to go there. There's nothing to stop them. They're going under things, all right? Nothing. It's a trip. I mean, it is a massive trip. Miguel says it sounds almost like someone can potentially sabotage the stadium construction and or plot a demolition strike of the unfinished stadium, if you know what I mean. Or how about just take a video in there and show things that maybe other people don't want to see, and maybe other people weren't supposed to see, or perhaps the stadium's underwriters weren't supposed to see until a certain point. This is the most revealing stadium video I've ever seen. On the other hand, it's great media because it lets us absolutely know where things are. And on top of all of that, as I point out in here, I was reading to you what I wrote, right? I wrote that they, in terms, when I wrote Las Vegas Stadium delayed, I also wrote this. I wrote, but the news he offers is interesting because, as I point out in subsequent tweets, McCarthy, the builders of Las Vegas Stadium, reported that the facility will be substantially complete. I got to show you this, okay? This is what I wrote, all right? Listen, look at this, all right? The builders of Las Vegas Stadium reported that the facility will be substantially complete, quote unquote, quote, July 31st, 2020, according to Card Player in May of last year. But in 2017, July 31st was offered up as the hard date of completion, not substantially complete. So how one can advance one day from July to August in a completion date over almost 2 years is a head scratcher. But the news is that another media outlet actually went out and countered the mainstream media party line that the rain and snow had no impact on the progress of the stadium. Light Tower's blog reports this. This is what he writes. The Raiders Stadium is set to be complete August 2020, just in time for preseason September 2020. Originally, it was set to be completed May 2020. Due to the inclement weather, the stadium got delayed. When there are rainy, snowy, or really windy days, only certain parts of the stadium can be worked on. The crew has a schedule where the steel guys have to have certain parts that have to be completed in order for the concrete guys to work, and vice versa. If one crew gets off schedule, there can be a real pileup of parts, all right? It says, Las Vegas Stadium is delayed, but a Review Journal tried to snow us. That's far different from the Las Vegas Review Journal, which took great pains to convince us all that the rain and snow had no impact on the stadium construction timeline. In other words, it appears that the Review Journal tried to snow us. And on YouTube, Jed Rich Jedi Rich, admitted that more rain and snow could cause the Raiders to remain in Oakland in 2020. It says, all right here. It says, so if there are any more delays, could 2020 be put at risk? Asks this person. So thank you for the video. Go Raiders. Jed Rich says, yes. It depends if they have accounted for snow delays next year. If this, quote, unusual, unquote, weather becomes more usual, unquote, then it will probably be back to Oakland for 2020. And I said, weather forecast is for even more rain this year. Awesome video. To which somebody got mad at me. He says, oh, now you're a weather predictor now. And I said, you know what? It's on the internet. You might try using it. Okay. I sometimes like to rib it in there because when people come at me, I'm just like, you bothering me? Heck with you, man. Doggone it. But the whole point is, I mean, it's like they went out there with the express purpose of just telling the truth, which is all I've ever said. Just tell the truth. They told the truth. Hey, this thing's behind schedule. What I like about Jedi Rich is he's unvarnished, all right? He and I think her name is Jedi Joy, they obviously are excited about the stadium. You know, who wouldn't be? You know, I mean, if you like stadiums, you're excited about new stadiums. Yeah, just being honest, okay? But because, look, I'm sorry, folks, you don't wish for somebody's, in this instance, you don't wish for somebody's bad luck because that could translate into deaths due to construction incidents, all right? You don't want that. So if they succeed, just, you know, be a gentle person and tip your hat to them and move on with your life. If you're going to file a lawsuit and, you know, get it over with. But all this ridiculous meanness and childish and immature behavior is absolutely ridiculous and really has to stop on the part of certain people. All right. Now, my point is that because, you know, you're picking fights with people for nothing that have nothing to do with life. This is not a life or death issue. And the people who are picking the fights, in my estimation, are people who always had to have somebody to dislike. When I first came to know them, they were talking about somebody they didn't like. Then they turned out to me when I didn't exactly toe the line they wanted me to. By contrast, I don't treat people any like that way. There's a lot more going on in my life than that, I would hope. I know there is. I'm here for my mom, okay? Which I completely resent, by the way, when people bring that BS to me and I'm in the middle of my own family situation and everything, and they bring that up. I'm thinking, you know what? You're not a good person. But I digress. Cowboy Rush says, I have no problem with the NFL team in Vegas, just not the Raiders. Look, what can we do? Right? We just simply have, look, let's look at the bright side. There's a lawsuit that was filed. It's going to court. They're not going to stop it. And something's going to happen, and I predict a win. All right? I know I have said, gee, don't predict because I say don't predict because it means you really don't quite understand the dynamics, everything. You're just trying to get to a point to see what the outcome is. But if you look at the dynamics of this situation, to not expect a court victory is questionable. However, I do think there's a long journey between here, court, and the end of court, however that comes out, settlement or whatever. I don't know. And I'll tell you there, I don't know. So when I say I bet, I have, well, is it something I'm willing to put my money on? No, I'm not. Because there's just so many moving parts. I think it would be stupid to do that. There are just so many moving parts. Okay, I wouldn't do that. But I expect them to win. Let me put it that way. I expect victory. But getting back to the main point regarding access, I've got to talk with people in the industry to find out what they think about that. I really do. And Miguel says, oh, this is a great comment, folks. You got to see this. Just because somebody can drive a semi on the premises at night, they could be packed with thermite and bye-bye halfway built stadium. Yeah, Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's like, I mean, were these guys trying to send a message like that? I mean, is that what they were trying to do? We're like, hey, we're a couple of bumpkins, and we're just sort of driving on your stadium, and woohoo, we think this is cool, and we're kind of like, what is it? Not Jay and Silent Bob, but what's the other guys? Uh, uh, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like they're these cool people who they're this cool music, and they seem like they're fun to hang out with, and they're just, oh, we kind of wandered onto this thing, and by the way, it's just so cool, and this is what's going on, and they are informed, which means they've been talking to somebody. Someone, all right, someone wanted it known. That was deliberate. Somebody connected with that stadium wanted it known that they were behind schedule. They wanted to show the world what was going on. That's called blowing the whistle. Someone ordered that. Someone schemed that. Not ordered it. Someone schemed that. Because it is in so many ways the perfect pie in the face of the Las Vegas mainstream media that happened. There's no other way to describe it than that. That's exactly what it is, okay? Joseph Amador says, I agree, Cowboy Wrestler, as I've said before, what's a pirate doing stranded in the desert? Oh, John and Carl asks the question. He says, so after the stadium is completed, they have to wait 3 months before they can play games there, right? Well, that's what I understand it, but I did some analysis of other comparable situations, and generally the period is about 90 days, all right? So they were giving them, 90 days. So 90 days is, 60 days. I'm sorry, not 90 days. 60 days. 90 days is 3 months. 60 days, or about 2 months. 60 days, 45 days. In the Falcons' case, it was 45 days, 45, 50 days, all right? But still, if you say they're going to be ready, here's the thing. It can't be August 1st, because it was supposed to be substantially completed by July 31st last year. That was 2020 last year. There's no way that you can just gain a few hours in a year. More like, and not only that, the contract of the stadium says that the first 2 weeks of August are not available for scheduling. It's right there in black and white. So that carries into the end of August. You add 45 days, you're leapfrogging September, and you're into where? October. All roads point to October. All right. Folks, to be continued. Tomorrow, same bat channel, earlier bat chime. Did I say earlier bat chime? Same bat channel, earlier bat time. Oh, how far is the Las Vegas Stadium from T-Mobile? I'll show you. Hold on a second. I will give you a visual. I'll give you a visual you won't forget, man. Let's see here. Las Vegas Stadium. Las Vegas. Las Vegas Stadium. Okay. And do this Google Earth style. I'll say Google Earth style. Google Earth. Well, it's one thing to say it's a quarter mile. It's actually a little bit longer than that. You'll see. You'll see. Maps. Okay, there. And satellite. Okay. All right. And 3D. Zoom out. Zoom out. Zoom out. And let's see here. Zoom in there. Excalibur. There. Okay. Right there. All right. Here we go. There. There it is. And there that is. Okay, so it's right there, right? So that's a little more than a quarter mile. Depends on how you measure it. If you measure from here to here, it's more than that. That's about almost a mile. Well, half a mile, somewhere in there, okay? But that's T-Mobile, and that's the arena. And then, by the way, this is the Tropicana. Las Vegas here, New York, New York. And then up here, over here is going to be the Sphere, all right? But there, okay, there, all right? So there you go, all right. Not far, but you got an idea where the layout is, and that's an old picture. That's about, looks like 2 years old, okay? Yeah, about 2 years old, thereabouts, yeah. Okay, so, all right. John Cousins, did you ever find out what the one issue was with the Raiders brought up before the lease was signed? No, I did not. And I said I was going to have that ready for this time, but I didn't. So I need to come back to that. What I was trying to do was get Scott McKibben on the show to talk about that. And I'm still trying to do that. I tried to do that Friday, but he wanted to go and play golf. I wanted Chuck to come around and interview him, but, you know, Chuck got some great stuff with Larry Reed. I don't know if you saw it or not. If you didn't see it, I'll play it for you right now, because this is some humdinger stuff, folks. If you haven't heard, if you have not heard what Oakland Council member, Larry Reed, and Oakland Council member, an Oakland Council member, John Cousins, did you ever find out? An Oakland Council member, here we go, Oakland Council member, here we go, Oakland Council member Larry Reed, so Larry Reed, Oakland, there that is. Okay, videos, there, and here, folks. All right. Okay. All right, here it is, folks. You got to see this. This is Larry. This is Oakland District 7 Councilmember Larry Reed Friday after the Oakland-Alameda County Joint Powers Authority Board's decision to approve the Raiders lease. This is Larry Reed right here. Chuck Johnson, Zinni 62 media vlogger, legendary man in Oakland, creator of Soul Beat Television.
Excuse me, Larry. I want to see if I can get you just on my vlog. I just want to ask you a question on my vlog. So Larry, man, this is of course our council member Larry Reed. How important was this for this to get signed off today?
It's not important to me. You know, the only reason why I'm here today is because of the loyal, diehard Raiders fans has been mistreated by the Raiders.
Right.
And so they want the Raiders to be able to play another year. So,
what are your pros and cons to this?
well, I think the Raiders did the city an injustice. This is the second time that the Raiders have just stepped on these diehard Raider fans that have loved them and worshipped them.
That's right.
And now they're off to Las Vegas. And so, you know, I take issue with that. We had a deal that was structured that would allow the Raiders to stay here, play in a football-only brand new stadium. And they chose to go off to Las Vegas and disrespect those who have been so loyal and faithful
Gotcha.
to them.
So for us to have one more year, though, that does bring in some revenue to the city, right?
Well, yeah, it brings in some revenues to the city, but also more important is the employees who work the games here. it keeps their jobs intact for another year, maybe second.
Maybe 2 years. So good.
Okay, so there you go. That's that was Larry Reed. You heard what he had to say, and if you haven't had a chance to hear what there it goes. If you haven't had a chance to hear what Noel Giles said, he's a Raider fan. It was searing. All right. He's still, Noel Giles, Oakland Councilman, still has his season tickets, by the way. So I'm going to play that for you right now, because you have to hear that as well. This is because Chuck did a fantastic job. Hold on a second, right here, all right? You got to listen to this, folks. All right, this is Oakland District 5 City Councilman Noel Giles, right here, all right? Listen. This was before the vote, all right?
Go. I'm sorry. How do you see this development is going to happen in terms of the Raiders lease?
Well, I think that I support the year lease, the 2-year lease.
Yes.
Even further down the line.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I represent the public, and they need to own up to their investment as well as to what they owe the citizens. Substantial where we are today. It's not about the ownership. The NFL needs to stand up and honor and throughout the United States and cities. And we're staying but at the same time, we just take advantage of by the management and taken Oakland for granted, and Oakland has been taken for granted for too many times, for too long. And the NFL, the National Football League, and some of the other professional sports are responsible, accountable for that action, and that's really sad to see that happen. But at the end of the day, I do want to see the Raiders or the other professional teams stay in Oakland, but they have to honor their commitment to the citizens of Oakland, and that's the bottom line.
And to be honest with you, it seems like the new ownership doesn't have as much of the same vested interest in Oakland as the older
Absolutely.
ownership.
If you look at from the very beginning when the Raiders came from LA back to the city of Oakland.
Right.
If you ask me whether they ever paid that $50 million plus loan that the city council and the mayor and all of them gave, including some of the members that are here in JP, did they ever pay it back? Nobody can track it back. What happened to the loan? It's a loan, you're supposed to pay it back. Well, what happened to the $50 million? Then I took a bond effort on top of that to rebuild the stadium. So I think that the ownership of the NFL and the ownership of the Raiders are the ones that are charged, and they're just here to make a dollar. But you don't make a dollar on poor people, fans that are supporting you.
Right.
And it should be an honor to be here playing sports in Oakland, and you have a fan base and loyal constituents, city government supporting you, but you got to pay your loans and your fees and honor the public. That's the problem.
And then I guess the last question I would ask you, who is your favorite Raider of all time and why?
I have many favorite Raiders. I guess it would be Willie Brown. Because Willie Brown grew up right there when as a young man. Sometimes we needed an attitude adjustment growing up here in East Oakland, and he opened up the liquor store right on Fruitvale Avenue in Foothill.
There you go.
But he was available. He would come to our school, to our neighborhood, to the street.
Good piece of history there.
He would say, hey, young man, get over here.
Straight up.
There's different opportunities within the city that you need to take advantage of as opposed to being on the street. And I always admire him for that. So Willie Brown was one that really stands out right at the top. He made it personal, not only with myself, but my brothers, Chase.
That's great testimony. I appreciate your time for a few minutes. Thanks.
So there you go, folks. That's Oakland District 5 Councilman Noel Giles, who was kind enough to talk with Chuck Johnson, Zenny 62 Media vlogger, new Zenny 62 Media vlogger. Welcome, Chuck. I'm gonna have you back on the show. Talk. You did a fantastic job. So there you are. John says, so I heard it's possible the Raiders may play in Oakland for another 3 years. Well, 2019, 2020, possibly 2021. Given the way things are going, you saw what was happening on there. It could happen. I mean, look, there's an entire section of Las Vegas Stadium on the south side, Polaris side, south end of the stadium, south quarter of the stadium, that has no steel structure, no rebar, nothing, all right? If you look at the animation model of the stadium under construction that's on YouTube, all you have to do is go to YouTube, type Las Vegas Stadium construction timeline. You will see the animation. Run the animation to tomorrow's date. Stop it there when you get to tomorrow during the day. Go to the live stadium webcam and look at where the stadium is. In the animation, that steel is filled in by that date. In fact, if you take a look at the timeline, that steel was filled in as far back as last year in October, okay? It's still not filled in reality. So by my eyeball calculations, right there is about another month and a half of work at least just to fill that in, okay? Say maybe closer to 2 months, because there is a steel structure that the workers spent time assembling from February 13th to March 13th. I've said this before, okay? And it took them that long to assemble this structure that's then supposed to go up in place. This steel is still sitting there. As I speak to you today, head into the 18th of March, it's still sitting there. That took a month to assemble. So it took a month for that to assemble. How long is it going to take to fill in that steel there? And if you want a clue for that, just go back and run the time lapse yourself and then see where the steel's filled in that forms the bowl. Look at how long it took to fill that in. Take that time amount, that elapsed time, and apply it to the other side. So it's not hard to figure out. They're behind schedule. So, you know, why run around telling fibs? I say to you that the video you saw, the video by Jedi Rich Lightower was an inside job, okay? Someone got them in there. I don't think they just walked on there themselves, because they obviously talked to someone who gave them the information they wanted the public to see. And they didn't block me from writing a comment on their video. So they obviously wanted me to see it, because they knew I'd put it out there. All right? So, wild stuff. Joseph says, is it possible that weather is an excuse and they ran out of money? It could be. I think that they are slowing down. Money has been a problem with respect to the stadium tax revenue. I got to check and see where that is. As I said before, they need a minimum of $600 million in sponsorships. They are not there by any stretch of the imagination. So there are clearly problems. However, on the good side, they are getting sponsorships, and the total amount of what those sponsorships should be, even right now, gives the Raiders more liquidity than they've had for some time. Then they're selling PSLs and luxury suites. But I don't know exactly where they are. I know they've got more money to play with than they've had to play with in a little while. So when someone says the Raiders have cash flow problems, they're in better position this year than they were last year, but they're by no means out of the woods. Understand? Okay? All right. Good night, folks. I'm headed to bed. I'll see you. Thanks a lot.